Baba, please help me. Please help me to speak. Now, why am I listening to a Muslim musical piece if I am always talking about Shiva? How is this? Well, when I say Om Namah Shivaya, I think of three things, if you will. Three things. I think of Mahadeva. The Supreme Personification of Father God. I also think of Uma, Mahamaya, the Supreme Personification of Mother God. And then there are those who make distinctions between the two. They try to separate them, but this is impossible because they are one, and their oneness comes from a place that is beyond comprehension. And so, to explain why I'm listening to this right now, because their oneness transcends even them, or this oneness that they experience, this indescribable oneness. This, my friends, is the most inconceivable high above all forms, and yet including all forms. The word Allah, Arabic word, but I will say this, and I have the guts to say this. The Sanskrit language is older, yes? And we are all connected, my friends. We really are. Just see. ALAKH. ALAKH is a wonderful term. It is the name of that Shiva, which is beyond gender, which truly has no partners. The word ALAKH means sightless. You cannot see this with even heavenly eyes. You can only see this when your heart is purified, surrendered to that inexpressible source of all. So ALAKH means sightless. Also Niranjan. Niranjan means spot free. Again, ALAKH Niranjan is the name for that Shiva, which is beyond all human and even divine conception. It is said that when Krishna tried to understand the source of his own being, he became dumbfounded. He could not. So, ALAKH Niranjan. And yet, just going around talking about the inconceivable one is not what the inconceivable one desires. For then, all creation would be for naught, my friends. So very easy to say, oh, just this, just that. And then we see how we treat one another. How we treat one another. Always talking about God, God, God. And we do not treat one another like a god or goddess would. Again, because my Baba, he taught me, he reminded me actually, the greatest Godhead of all is too big for words, all-encompassing. There is this Sikh greeting, Sat Shri Akal. It means the timeless being is the ultimate truth. And yet, we cannot approach this ultimate truth. This timeless, inconceivable truth we cannot approach without taking shelter, even reverencing those ecstatic, beyond ecstatic beings, which are the personifications, I said plural, the personifications of this inconceivable Godhead, ever expanding, never static, always dynamically evolving, my friends. But see, that doesn't mean that you do not adore the transcendental manifestations, personifications, because they are the door, my friends, to this inconceivable oneness. Even Hanuman, I don't remember verses at all, but even Hanuman, it is said, once looked at Ram, you see. He looked at Ramchandra, and he said, well, something like, if I just look at you and consider myself and yourself, there really is no difference, my dear Ram. In so many ways, we are both clothed in these human garments. We both suffer with various woes. But when I look at you and I see, really see, just what and who you are an embodiment of, then I can only but serve you, my dear Ram. So we have something called the 5 faces of Shiva. I took a few notes, and there's no way that I could ever, never quantify or explain that. But these are just ways. These are just templates to try to inspire something, which is untouchable, yet paradoxically can be touched. So you have the 5 faces of Shiva, and you have what is called in Vaishnava circles the Pancha Tattva, the 5 categories of Godhead. So you have Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? Right? And I know a lot of you don't understand this, and it's okay, little by little, because this is what I do. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu And this Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to me, is Ishana. And I'll explain this, I'll try. Maybe not in this clip. And this Ishana is Vasudeva, Krishna. They are all Shiva, you see. Shiva means auspicious. And then you have Prabhu Nityananda. And Prabhu Nityananda is Vamadev, also known as Shankarishan. And then you have Sri Advaita. And this is Agora, also known as Anirudh. And then you have Gadadhar. And this is Tat-Purusha, also known as Pradyumna. And then you have Srivasadi. This is Sadyojata. And this is Bhakta Vrinda. Okay. I will have to do another video on this because there's no way that I can cover this, and I'm running for time. I'm pressing for time here. So basically I will say that I will go into explaining this, and I'll keep to it. I'm taking, I'm going to another place around here, so I'm not going to be around for a few days. But my heart is with my friends here. I really mean that. And the reason why I request so many people is because when I see someone, not because I'm clamoring for attention really, it's because my heart peers into their soul a little bit. And I just want to share this little smidgen of bliss that I'm graced enough to feel. For too long, I kept quiet. For so long I kept quiet. Then I met my beloved Baba, and always him trying to impress upon me my worthiness. When he passed away, I went bazonkers. Again, my friends, I'm not claiming to be a saint. I have what is called a Kshatriya disposition. A Kshatriya is a warrior. I have a warrior heart. As such, I am afflicted by passions. So I'm not presenting myself or even pretending to be this unsullied paragon of virtue. But I have a dharma, I have a sacred duty, and I must fulfill it. For this is the only thing that makes sense to me. And I only ask that through it all, whatever I have to go through in this lifetime, in this embodiment, that I never forget the Dharma, like this Swami from Vrindavan once told me. He looked at me. I was living in New Vrindavan, West Virginia, a Hare Krishna community, and he looked at me and he said, you never forget the Dharma, my friend. He said this to me. He said, never forget the Dharma. And no, I cannot forget the Dharma. No way that I can forget the Dharma. Dharma, the sacred duty. So you see, all of us, we are arguing so much. Over what? We all have different ways of describing what we feel. And so do I. But I never think that I am right in all things and that everyone is wrong. This is in itself wrong. But sometimes I hit upon some heavy things, and I'm glad for that. And this is just grace. Grace from Shiva, or whatever name you want to use.